here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Adirondack Mountains, where we will start 6 days or so, 7 days of Song of the Day from up here in the mountains. And as you all know, if you are followers of the show, you never know when the song is going to post. Could be in the morning, could be lunchtime, could be in the afternoon. That's just the way we roll when we're on vacation. So what are we talking about today? It would normally be Slow Down Sunday today, but we are skipping that because today is a huge anniversary in the music world. It is the 40th anniversary of the launching of MTV, the music channel, 1981. How about that? For those of you who are of a certain age, you remember the golden age of MTV when they actually played videos all the time. But let's talk a little bit about this channel when it started. It was kind of a fluke. They started it thinking they were going to do some kind of marketing and technology thing where they would hopefully just sell stuff to people by having this box in people's houses, and they could run commercials. And so they had HBO and CNN out there, and then this guy who was a music fan said, you know, we should just have music clips on there for teenagers, so then we can sell all the stuff that, you know, soda and acne cream and all this stuff to them. And they were like, well, I don't know if that is that even out there, is that a thing? So at first it was a lot of live clips. I mean, just terrible videos. If you had a video, it's just because you probably were just on the fringe, and a lot of you probably regretted it if you became popular after that. But when they launched, they had 250 videos collected, and that was it, and that's what they had to choose from. So by now everyone knows the trivia question, which was the first video ever played on MTV, and everyone knows it's Buggles' Video Killed the Radio Star. I mean, that's, everyone pretty much knows that. And Buggles, as we talked about before, we did do a show on MTV, the anniversary last year. So, but just to remind people, those guys went on to be in the band Yes, and one of them went on to produce some records for Yes, including 90125 and Big Generator. So Jeff Downs and Trevor Horn are Buggles, but they were successful with Yes and Asia. As a matter of fact, Jeff Downs was in Asia. How about that? So that's just interesting. So if you look at the first 25 videos played by MTV, then you're going to see almost half of them are songs you've probably never heard before. But there's some good stuff in there. You got You Better Run, Pat Benatar. You got You Better You Bet. There's a loon on cue. You Better You Bet from The Who, which you know, that is what that was, right? We talked about Little Susie's on the Up, so we won't talk much about that right now, but that song Little Susie's on the Up, that is not a Tesla song. If you are a fan of Tesla, this band PhD did a version of it, and it's, well, nothing like the Tesla version, so check that one out. Pretenders ended up with 2 in the top 25. Brass in Pocket, that was huge rotation on there. Take It on the Run, REO Speedwagon. Let's talk about REO Speedwagon. They had Take It on the Run and Keep on Loving You in the first 25 videos. Not only that, but they had 8 different videos played in the first 2 hours, dozens of times. It turns out that REO Speedwagon, for whatever reason, were making music videos, and they had that incredible album that out around that time, and I guess they just started making videos, so that paid off quite well for them. Rockin' the Paradise by Styx, there's one you know. Hold On Loosely, there's a great song, 38 Special. How about Iron Maiden coming in with the song Iron Maiden? I don't know who made that decision, but that's a pretty big deal. They were in the first 25 videos. Double Life by The Cars, great song there. In the Air Tonight, Phil Collins, that haunting video, that was early on also. And Stop Dragging My Heart Around, Tom Petty, Stevie Nicks, what's not to like about that? So there are a lot of good videos in that first couple of hours, but there's also a lot of stuff that you wouldn't necessarily know. And the videos were notoriously pretty bad. They were really bad. But they got started. Now, I got MTV, as some of you know, I got MTV pretty early on. I got it in 1982-ish, right around there. So this just blew my mind. I mean, MTV was just a super big deal in my house. Before that, I was just Casey Kasem and just listening to American Top 40 on the weekends and listening to that kind of music. You just didn't have the exposure to the kind of music you were seeing on MTV. You just had either classic rock or whatever, basically American Top 40, the pop rock at that point. And then all of a sudden you get MTV, And you got these VJs, you got these cool commercials, you got these great songs, these outfits. I mean, early on I saw Billy Idol was huge, and I was just like, what am I seeing here? I love Billy Idol. This is amazing. I mean, I never would have heard Billy Idol that early if I didn't have it MTV at that time. Speaking of those VJs, of course the originals, Martha Quinn, Alan Hunter, Mark Goodman, Nina Blackwood, and J.J. Jackson, who passed away in 2004. But the rest of those guys are all on Sirius satellite radio to this day. They all have shows, and that's pretty amazing too. I mean, all these years later, Sirius scoops them up and says, hey, you guys available to do work? And they all were in there. They all are still working to this day. So that's pretty cool. And I know they're doing tributes on Sirius all weekend long. Speaking of MTV, so the other thing about it was they had the music news. It was just awesome to see interviews with the bands and to find out what was going on later on throughout the 80s. I mean, again, the bands that launched MTV for us, or for me, you're talking Flock of Seagulls, Eurythmics, Culture Club, Duran Duran, Billy Idol, and of course later it was Madonna, and it just kept going from there. But those commercials that they had were just really, really cool. I mean, they had all the graphics that they were doing and just funny little skits and everything. And then by the time you got to the 90s, you had Jimmy the cab driver and his weird stuff, whatever was going on with him. How about Dennis Leary? You had Dennis Leary with his obsession with Cindy Crawford, and she had that House of Style, which was the beginning of the end for MTV when they started doing fashion. But anyway, that's my opinion. But Dennis Leary commercials for Cindy were just really, really funny, and that was awesome. And of course, Kurt Loder and Tabitha Sorensen doing the music news for all those years. What icons those were. And of course, Kurt Loder, a very famous editor at Rolling Stone magazine, very successful. He is 76 years old. How about that? That one really hurts. But before it became a home to game shows, it was just music videos. For those of you who don't know this, it was basically you just click that TV on and you would just have it on in the background at all your parties, just in your house, like listening to the radio, and it was just song after song after song. And you couldn't wait for your song to come on. Like you just knew if it was in heavy rotation that something good was going to come on, or your favorite one was going to come on, and that's it. We even had people who were recording it onto VHS so you could go back and watch the video later, so you didn't have to wait around. I mean, we played the VHS at parties because it had a bunch of the ones that we wanted to see. So that's how important MTV was in that heyday of 1982-ish, 83, all the way through to the early 90s. It was just a pretty big deal. So 40th anniversary, we're at 10 minutes here, so we're going long. I don't know how long it's going to take to upload this to the internet. It might take days. By the time I post this, it'll probably be 41 years since MTV launched. So that's your song. I didn't even do Song of the Day. My Song of the Day is not Buggles. It's actually none of the ones from the first launch. I'm going with one that is popular, that was popular right smack in the middle of the heyday of MTV. We're talking Dire Straits, Money for Nothing, I Want My MTV. That's your song of the day. Crank that one up. What a video that was. And I remember the first time I heard that song, it was on the radio, and I remember Sting saying he wanted his MTV, and he was right, and we got it, and it was cool. Have a good day, and as usual, I'll catch you on the flip side.